Okay, and what we want to do in this video is continue to go a little bit deeper into the kind of theory and give you an intuitive reason how prices change to bring the market into equilibrium. So what we're going to look at now is this idea of excess supply, and then see why price changes can bring the market into the desired situation of an equilibrium quantity, where quantity demanded is the exact same as quantity supplied at that equilibrium price. Right, so we really need to understand that we want quantity demanded equal to quantity supplied, because that is an efficient allocation of society's resources with the absence of any externalities, which we'll come to in a later set of videos, of course. Now, the first thing, market equilibrium. The point where the quantity of a product demanded is equal to the quantity of the product supplied. Really important. We don't want any waste. And there are two types of waste. If quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, i.e. we wanted one steak and now we've got 20, or quantity supplied is less than quantity demanded, we wanted one steak and we've got a gram of meat on our plate. Okay, so these are the things. We want quantity demanded to be equal to quantity supplied. We want people to be able to buy the amount of a good that they want if suppliers are willing to sell that amount at that price, assuming no externalities. This creates the market clearing price because there's no excess demand or excess supply, and we're going to start to look at excess supply today. So this creates the market clearing price and quantity where there is no excess demand or excess supply, All right, so what we've got here is the market for coffee. We are looking to get to the microeconomics rule of 11 with our diagrams. So what that means is a few things. I will just play this on at the start, and then I will talk a little bit about the diagram because I've already spoken about it in a previous video. We need the title, the price, the currency, the equilibrium price, PEQ1, remember, number these, the origin, the equilibrium quantity, where quantity demanded is the exact same as quantity supplied, and I'll explain that more now in a second. So we've got QEQ1, we've got the quantity axis, units per time period, D1, and S1. Right, now a few things. We are talking about markets, so this is the market supply curve and this is the market demand curve. The second thing is, how do I know that quantity demanded equals quantity supplied here? Well, let's just think about that this is the only curve, the demand curve here, the market demand curve is the only curve in this graph. And if we go out from PEQ1, we go out and we touch the demand curve there. Right, we're only touching the demand curve in our minds now. And then we go down, that's the quantity demanded. If at the same time, now we're looking at the market supply curve, which is this S1 here. If at the same time we go out from the price, the equilibrium price, and just touch the supply curve, and I think you would agree it touches here, we go down and that's quantity supplied. That is how I know, because they are at the exact same point at the intersection. The quantity demanded is the exact same at the quantity supplied at the intersection. And why does that happen at the intersection? Well, price will change to bring it to that. Okay, there's the equilibrium. Don't worry, you don't need to draw that. I just want you to know that that is the equilibrium point. You do not need this arrow or this equilibrium word there. Okay, now this is really important. The fact that the market has come to equilibrium is zero accident. Why? Well, the actions of buyers and sellers naturally bring the market into equilibrium, and we'll see why with the following example. Now, what we're going to look at is this term of excess supply. Now, yes, I have said P high here. What I mean, when excess supply occurs, it occurs when the market price is greater than the equilibrium price. All right, so don't say when the market price is high. Do not say that, because that's meaningless, because you could be at equilibrium with a high price. That's a subjective term. Say when the market price is above the equilibrium price. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, at this price, we go out to the demand curve, touch it and go down. This is the quantity demanded at the price P high. And again, I've just called it P high to denote that it is above the market clearing price or the equilibrium price. Then at the same price P high, we go out to the supply curve and touch, and then we get the quantity supplied Q high or QS high. Now, the obvious question what I would hope be obvious is that are these two, the quantity demanded and quantity supplied, the same? And I hope you would see that they are not. what is happening? Which is greater? Well, quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded. Essentially, what we have is excess supply. Now, what you have to think about here is, well, what would occur that would cause buyers and sellers to change their behavior and as such bring the market back down to equilibrium? Well, what you would notice is that shops, let's say, or the stalls for the oranges or for the cups of coffee, all right, are finding that they have loads and loads of paper cups, they have loads and loads of coffee beans, they have loads and loads of packets of sugar and stirrers and all this kind of stuff, and they're not selling them. The price that they are charging is so high that they are not selling them. So basically what's happening is their stocks are filling up, and they have no way to actually get rid of them. Now, they will realize that they have to lower the price in order to incentivize buyers to increase the amount that they buy, and as such that will allow them to get or to reduce their overly high levels of stock. Now, also at the same time, if they lower price, consumers, demanders that weren't buying the cups of coffee at this price now may start to buy coffee, and consumers that were already buying at this high price may increase the amount of coffee that they buy. So that means that because sellers lower the price to get rid of the extra stocks, two things occur. The quantity supplied is reduced and the quantity demanded is increased. So P high is not P high anymore. P high becomes what? The equilibrium price. Because this will continue to happen until we reach the equilibrium price, until the sellers of the good, in this case cups of coffee, their stores, their stocks of all the raw materials, the coffee and the paper cups and all that kind of stuff, all right, are selling the amount that they are bringing in. So if they're bringing in enough supplies for argument's sake 100 coffees a week, well then they realize that at this price people are buying 100 coffees a week, they're happy to continue on with that price. And basically what will happen is the price will fall from the excess, from the price above the equilibrium down to the equilibrium price, until the point where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. Now, I am not saying this will happen in one straight shot, as I've shown here. The price could have gone from here down to here, and then the excess supply would have been less, but still would have existed. And as such, there would have been a continuing incentive to lower price until the two were the same. So what I want you to understand from this is that there is built-in feedback loop which is caused by prices that will incentivize both buyers and sellers to change their behavior in order to bring about the equilibrium price. Now you could be saying, and again we've only given a cursory reason, which is the quantity supplied equals quantity demanded, because that makes sense, and it does make sense that we want that to happen. And what causes buyers and sellers to change the amount that they quantity demand and quantity supply? Well, it's changes in price. So for this reason, we say the price is the mechanism which brings the market into equilibrium. And the equilibrium price is known as the market clearing price. Well, what did it clear in this situation? It cleared the excess supply. So what was happening was we were producing 300 coffees a week, and at that price, society only wanted 20. That is crazy, because what an economy is, or what it really should be, is a means of satisfying, bringing people together to satisfy the desires of consumers. That's what it should be. And it was satisfying the desires of consumers, but at a ridiculous expense in terms of the example I just gave, which is 280 extra coffees. All right, now, what's the problem with that? All right, well, the problem with that is waste is bad in the first case. But you see, waste is bad because instead of producing those 280 extra coffees that nobody flipping well wanted, what we could have done was not use those paper cups, not use those coffee beans, said to farmers, stop farming coffee, start farming something else, and allocated those scarce resources to something else. Okay, that's what I want you to see. Now, there is the equilibrium point, and again, you do not need to draw that in. I would put a little dot in the middle, but it's not that important, okay? Now, excess supply. The definition of this is this occurs where the price of the good is higher than the equilibrium price, such that the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. All right. Now, if we look at this, and I will go on to a question from the Irish exam, but I just want to show you something. What is happening here? Well, basically what is happening here is that the price is above the equilibrium price, causing quantity supplied to be greater than quantity demanded. Therefore, the stock of all the coffees and the paper cups and the stirrers and all that kind of stuff is far greater than what the sellers can sell. They are incentivized to lower price. When they lower price, quantity demanded increases, and that excess supply or surplus has been removed. Now, if I can come on to this, okay? If we look at this here, what do we have? If I was to ask you, right, these are the different prices, this is the quantity demanded, and this is the quantity supplied. What would be occurring here? Well, what's occurring here is all the different options, the different prices for quantity demanded and quantity supplied. At what price is the market in equilibrium? And see if you can understand that. If you're not sure straight away, pause the video and come back to me. Okay, well, what we're saying here is at what price is the market in equilibrium? And I'm going to say at a price of 40. Now, how do I know that? Because quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. There is only one equilibrium price at any one point in time. Yes, things will change. We're going to do those videos later on. But at any one point in time, there is only one equilibrium price. And that is the price where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. Now, what was the situation that we described just there, which is the excess supply? We have at a price of 60, quantity supplied was 100 and quantity demanded was 20. That means at that price, there was an excess supply of 80 units. And also, let's say they're like, okay, guys, we're selling coffees for 60 euro. Okay, maybe we should lower the price. And then they lowered it to 50, as I said. Doesn't have to happen in one straight shot. And now the excess supply has gone from 80 down to 40. Well, again, that's better, but they're saying, guys, we still have to lower the price. And it's not as if, I shouldn't say it like that, because it's not as if it's a coordinated effort. Just each coffee shop sees that there's still, their stocks of all the raw materials are just rising. You need to get rid of it. Okay, so therefore they lowered the price to 40, and now they're selling 60 coffees, and people are demanding 60 coffees, hence they're selling it. And as such, that has gotten rid of the excess supply. On the other, another example just quickly, and again, these are in euros. What is written here? It's the exact same scenario. If I may ask you, what is the market equilibrium price? And the market equilibrium price in this case is €2.50 for whatever. This is an energy drink or whatever, okay? It's completely irrelevant, all right? Let's say it's a cup of coffee. Well then, how do I know that? Because quantity demanded is the exact same as quantity supplied. What was the situation of excess supply that we've just described, which was at a price of €3, quantity demanded is 5, quantity supplied is 40, therefore there was excess supply of 35 coffees. I'm just saying coffees, I know this is something else. Then what they say, right, I'm going to lower my price, and everybody else kind of thinks the same way because they're rational profit maximizers. So therefore what happens is, well, the rational utility maximizers, which are the buyers, say, well, actually it's cheaper now, I'm going to buy more. And then the coffee suppliers, the coffee shops are like, well, there's not the same perceived per unit profit, so I'm going to supply more. And now we only have excess supply of 20 cups of coffee a week or whatever. And this is again a better allocation of scarce resources than the previous example, but it's not efficient because we want quantity demanded to equal quantity supplied. So at a price of $2.50, we have 20 demanded, 20 supplied. We are in market equilibrium, which is desired and desirable. Now, obviously, the next thing which we'll do in the next video is what happens if price is, now I will say this, and then I will intentionally make this mistake and then correct myself, too low. What do I mean by too low? What if the market price is below the equilibrium price? Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is something that we will come to in the next video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope this helps, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next video.